Hello and welcome to the semester exam study guide part 2. So let's go ahead and pick up where we left off with number 22. So this time we're finding the measure of the indicated angle to the nearest degree. And so we are going to be using trig again, but now we are using the inverse, okay? So we still have to label the sides. Still going to be H, O, and A. Let's actually go ahead and do these other ones too. H, O, and A, and H, O, and A. It's going to be just like that, H, O, A, like in a in a clockwise motion there. So once I do that, I have to know, okay, what sides have information. See how there's a 6 on the H and there's a 4 on the O. And let's write SOHCAHTOA. That means, sorry, that's an A. Or sorry, that's a C, I mean. Whoops. There we go. So that means I'm going to be using sine because I have O and H here. So I'm going to be using sine. So sine of theta is equal to O over H. So I'm going to still do the same thing. I'm going to plug in, except this time x will not be over here. It'll be over here attached to the sine. So we're going to do sine of x is equal to 4 over 6. And then because the x is like attached to the sine and I need to get it on the other side, I'm going to use inverse sine, which is this inverse, like that, sine to -1. Then I'm going to flip around the 4 over 6. It's going to go over here, and the x is going to go on the other side. So all I have to do in my calculator, right, I pick it up, I do the inverse sine, which is second, then the sine key, then I put in 4 divided by 6. And I get 41.8, or it's the nearest degree, so that would be 42 degrees. Okay, let's do 23. Same thing. What are my two sides? That would be A and H, so it's going to be cosine this time. Cosine of theta is A over H. The theta is x. A is 20. H is 21. Whoops. Sorry, cosine x there. And then to get the x by itself, I do inverse cosine. So flip the 20 over 21 to this side, and the x goes on the other side. So I put this part in my calculator. Inverse cosine, 20 divided by 21, hit equals, and I get 17.7. That's going to round to 18 degrees. All right, and then 24, this time it's O and A, which is tangent. So tangent theta is O over A. I'm going to put in x. I'm going to put in 67. I'm going to put in 27, and then do inverse tangent and flip those around. So x is on the other side. So in my calculator, inverse tangent, 67 divided by 27, and I get 68 degrees. All right, let's move on to 25. Now this is getting into unit, let's see, 6, 7, 8. This should be unit 9, which is circles. So again, let's kind of reference the notebook. Remember the notebook, let's see, has everything broken down, every single step if I went too fast. For the trig part. So now for the circles, right, all the formulas are here. So see how circumference is pi times diameter? That's what we're going to be using. Circumference is pi times diameter. So we're going to write that. Circumference, so it says find the circumference, is pi times diameter. So all we have to do is bring down pi. We're going to fill in the diameter is 14.4. All we have to do is put that into our calculator. So pi times 14.4 gives us, and this is round to the nearest tenth, so it would be 45.2. And that would be feet. All right, now it's arc length. So another formula. So our arc length formula is going to be pi times, 2 pi r, and that's going to be theta over 360. So, because they're always going to give us radius, so we have to use this 2 pi r. We're going to bring down 2 and pi. The radius is 9, and theta is 120. We know the theta because it has a little degree symbol, and we know the radius has units on it. So in my calculator, I'm going to put in 2 times pi times 9 times 120 divided by 360. And when I round this to the nearest tenth, I get 18.8, and the unit is inches. All right, so find the area of this circle. So area is another formula. It's going to be pi r squared. Pi does not change. The radius is 5.8. It's going to be squared. So all we have to do is, again, in our calculator, do pi times 5.8, then use the square key, and then hit equals. Make sure you're multiplying them, okay? And I get 105. So nearest tenth is going to be 0.7, and this is feet squared. That's 105.7 feet squared, okay? Moving on to sector, another formula. Most of this is formulas in this unit, which is going to be pi r squared theta over 360. Always start with the formula, then plug in. Our radius is 10. Our theta is 315. So in my calculator, I'm going to do pi times 10 squared times 315 divided by 360. And that gives me 274 point, to nearest tenth would be 0.9, and that's going to be kilometers. If the rounding is still throwing you off, don't worry, the exam is multiple choice, okay? And now with the rest of these from this unit, this is arc addition, which means, is it going to be like a half circle that they're giving us information for that's going to add to 180, or is it a full circle of information that's going to add to 360? So BC is this piece right here, like this whole piece. See how this piece plus this other one, right? It's going to be a half circle because this half circle over here is blank. So it's going to be our unknown, which is x, right? This piece right here, plus 98 is going to equal 180. So all we have to do is subtract from 180, and that gives us 82 degrees. All right, same thing for number 30. When I say same thing, I mean, let's highlight our missing piece first. Okay, and let's label it x. And now this missing piece plus this piece of 45 plus this whole piece of 160, right? See how they're like over here, this was 98, this was blank. This is x, this is 45, this is 160. Like, it's giving us the whole circle, the whole pie piece, or the whole pie, okay? So it's going to be x plus 45 plus 160 is equal to 360 this time, okay? And then 45 plus 160, when we combine like terms, that's 205. And then we can subtract from 360. So that is going to be 155 degrees. All right, and then same concept for 31 and 32. What are they giving us the information for? If you need to highlight and kind of fill it in, that might help. But in 31, right, this is giving us the whole circle again. So it's going to be 160 plus 125. The only difference is that these are going to have expressions now. So plus x plus 85 is all going to equal 360. So I'm going to combine like terms. So I have 160 plus 125 plus 85 is 370. Now don't be alarmed, you can have negative numbers, right? We're going to subtract 370, and we're going to get x is negative 10. Now for 32, we have 43x minus 2 plus 16x plus 5. This time, see how half of this circle is blank? So it's going to equal 180, this equation. So let's combine like terms. Let's do 43 and 16. That's 59x. And then we have -2 plus 5 is +3. So plus 3 is 180. And now we can solve by subtracting 3. 59x is equal to 177. And then it should be a whole number here that we're dividing by 59. So 177 divided by 59 is 3. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought maybe I made a mistake, but no, we're good. X is equal to 3. So that is circles. We're on our last part now, which is probability. There's actually no volume or 3D figures on the exam. So most of this, I know, is word problems or sentences, but it's okay. We just have to take the problems and just make sure we understand what to do. I think this was the lesson that we didn't really use this notebook, or we used it the least. But here, I'm going to show you guys. This is all in here as well, probability, right? Fundamental accounting principle, the repeated events. These independent and dependent, if you forget what this is, if you just read this out, this should make sense. And also remember, use these examples, okay? All right, let's go back though. All right, so a jewelry store sells gold and platinum rings. Each ring is fitted with a ruby, sapphire, or emerald gemstone. So this one, if it's just the number of outcomes, just multiplying the possibilities. The first one is like the band, right? The gold or platinum. And then the second event is the gemstone. So what are the possibilities for each one? How many possibilities for the band? It says gold and platinum, so that's 2. How many possibilities for the gemstone? Ruby, sapphire, emerald, that's 3. 2 times 3 is 6. All right, 34. Sandwich shop has 3 types of sandwiches: ham, turkey, and chicken. Each sandwich can be ordered with white bread or multigrain. Customers can add any combination of the 7 available toppings. So there is the meat, there is the bread, and there is the toppings. So how many possibilities for the meat? Ham, turkey, chicken, that's 3. The bread, white or multigrain, that's 2. And then there's 7 toppings. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 7 is 42. So there's 42 possible sandwiches that you can order at that shop. And now for 35, it says you flip a coin 7 times. That's the repeated events, right? Anything more than 3, let's make an exponent. So how many possibilities for flipping a coin, right? That's just 2 heads and tails. And you're doing it 7 times. So 2 to the 7th power. That's what we're going to put in the calculator. So 2, then exponent key, and then 7. We hit enter and we get 128. So this is the 2 is standing for like the heads and tails. Let's make that clearer. Heads and tails. And then the 7 is because you're flipping it 7 times. Okay. So set up your exponent and then put in the calculator. For number 36, we're determining whether it is independent or dependent. A bag contains 8 red marbles and 4 blue marbles. You randomly pick a marble and then pick the second marble without returning it to the bag, okay? If you're not returning it to the bag, right, that means the outcomes are changing. Independent means the outcomes are not changing. Dependent means outcomes are changing, right? If you don't return it, that means the events are changing, right? So that would make it dependent. Another way to think of it is independent doesn't change. So like a spinner rolling a die or putting the marbles back, those are independent because one does not affect the other, right? Independent doesn't affect anything. But this one is dependent because that second time you pick the marble out, that depends on what you picked out the first time. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, 37. A basket contains 7 apples and 6 peaches. You randomly select a piece of fruit and then return it to the basket. Then you randomly select another piece of fruit. Both pieces of fruit are apples. When we're finding the probability, we want to write out the words first and then plug numbers in. So it says, and then make sure, because see how it says return it to the basket, right? That means it's going to be independent. So just be careful, or just make sure your totals actually are going to be the same. So you randomly select another piece of fruit. Both pieces of fruit are apples. So our first piece of fruit is going to be an apple. So apple over total. And then our second piece of fruit is going to be an apple. So that's where we're getting these words from, just from the question at the very end, okay? Both pieces of fruit are apples, so we set that up. And now how many apples are there? It says there's 7. So let's put a 7. How many total pieces of fruit? 7 plus 6 is 13. And now for our second event, remember, because you've returned the piece to the basket, you haven't eaten it, it is still going to be 7 over 13. It's not going to change, right? Independent does not change. Dependent, it does change, okay? So now to multiply, 7 times 7 is 49. 13 times 13 is 169. And when I divide these, I get a decimal. I get 0.290. Okay, remember to divide these two numbers, that's how we get our decimal here. All right, 38. A bag contains 3 red marbles and 3 blue marbles. You randomly pick a marble and then pick a second marble without returning the marbles to the bag. Both marbles are red. So now this one, see over here, 37 was independent. 38 is going to be dependent because you're not putting the marbles back, right? It's changing. Both marbles are red. So we want to start with just red over total, right? These words are coming from the events, right? The first event, you pick a marble, it's red, so red over total. You pick another one, so our second event is going to be red over total. And then we look to see how many marbles there are. It says there's 3. From a total of 6 in the bag, right? 3 plus 3 is 6. And then now, this is where you have to be careful without returning it to the bag. So now that you've gone in there in the bag a second time, how many red marbles? If the first one is red, how many are left in there? 2. How many total are left in the bag? 5. See how the second event, the outcomes, just the number has changed. That's it. So just make sure to account for that. And now we multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 divided by 30 is 1/5. And so it's going to be 0.2. Alrighty. Last 2. Number 39 is just determining if it's mutually exclusive. So it says a box of chocolates contains 4 milk chocolate, 4 dark, 5 white. You randomly select a chocolate, it is milk or dark. Mutually exclusive means the two things are separate, completely separate. If there's any overlapping at all, then it's not mutually exclusive. If it's a milk or dark, can those be the same thing? Is there any sort of overlapping? No, they're completely separate. It's either milk or it's either dark. That's it. So that would make it mutually exclusive because they are totally separate. Okay. And now for 40, a box of chocolate. So this is actually the same kind of thing. You randomly select a chocolate. It is milk chocolate or dark chocolate. So I'm going to give you a little hint. On the exam, it's going to be basically mutually exclusive, just like this one. So there's no table I'm going to give you. All you have to do is add them. So I'm going to start with milk over total. And I'm going to add the dark over total. These other ones I multiply because there's more than one event. This one, there's only one event. I'm only just selecting one chocolate. So how many are milk chocolate? It says 3. I have a total of how many are in the box. So 3 plus 5 plus 3 is 11. Okay. And then how many dark chocolates? There are 5. And it's still 11. All right. Now, if I have my denominator the same, when I add, I just add the numerator. So 3 plus 5 is 8. So 8 over 11. So plug into the calculator 8 divided by 11. And we get 0.727. round to the nearest thousandth. Alrighty. So hopefully that helped. If you have any questions at all, please come ask me. Remember, you can use this to help you with the exam. Like, you can have this paper with you. You can also use the digital notebook when you do the exam. So good luck. I know you'll be great. And again, just let me know if you need any help. All right, bye.